Hello everyone, greetings from Magdeburg, Germany, Deutschland. My name is Svetlana Mucha and I'm the founder and the leading matchmaker at Diolli.com. In this video, I would like to talk about the smart attitude to dating. So often when singles enter the dating market or when they start dating someone new, they have this attitude that they are teachers or a jury liable to grade or to rate their potential date. They begin with the dating profile, looking at the pictures and trying to come up with a rate, with a grade, if this person is hot enough or not hot enough. After scrolling through the pictures, sometimes they bother to look at the age to judge if this lady or this man is young enough or good enough, and then they scroll down to look at the hobbies as if to rate if hobbies are cool enough, if this person is interesting enough, tall enough, etc. Of course, sometimes they pay attention on other criteria, like for example, okay, this woman has been married, so I don't want to date her, or she has a kid, or she's not tall enough, or she's a Capricorn. So many aspects that they pay attention to. So many singles unfortunately act this way, and after this thorough examination of a dating profile, if they come up with the verdict that okay, has potential, they actually go out on a date, and there they act exactly the same. They sit like if they are in the jury or like if they are a teacher, and they try to see if the person in front of them, their date, is doing their best to impress them or if it is not enough. And sometimes they even try to teach their date how to impress them better. And this attitude, it is wrong on so many levels. And first of all, it's not beneficial for the person who tries to critique, to educate and to rate. How to change this attitude? Well, to turn it 180, and instead of trying to value, to rate, to actually try to look what do you have to offer to your date. Are you doing enough to impress your date? Are you doing enough to catch her attention and to keep it? Of course, physical attraction is important, and I'm not trying to encourage you to date someone who doesn't take care of his or her looks, who looks unhealthy, for example, severely overweight. No, I'm not trying to do that. And trust me, both men and women, they want to be physically attracted to their partner. And for all normal human beings, it is essential to feel proud of your partner when you go out with this person, and you want to feel attracted physically to this person, to be willing to hug and to kiss, to hold his or her hand. But every month we receive at least several requests from gentlemen who, by the look on their pictures, have never been inside a gym and who do not eat healthy. They are severely out of shape, and these men, they send us pictures of women they find attractive, and usually these are photos of women who look like Victoria's Secret models of the early 2000s, so like tall, very slim, with nice breasts, blue eyes, blonde or brown hair, so very attractive women. And these men claim that this is the type of beauty they can settle on. So by the logic of this men, these very attractive women who take great care of their looks have to settle for a guy who doesn't take care of his look, doesn't have good genetics probably, doesn't eat healthy. What must be wrong with these women to settle for a guy like that? Don't they have any standards at all? And very often these men claim that this woman, this beautiful woman with model looks, has to be 15 years younger, never married, and she has to choose a man who is like 15 years older, who is neither rich nor famous, who is divorced with 3 teenage kids that stay part-time with him. Of course, such a man has nothing to offer to a woman like that. And to be honest, he has very little to offer even to a woman his age who looks good for her age, who takes care of her looks, and who, for example, doesn't have small children. The smart dating attitude is to think about things that you can realistically offer to your date instead of making unrealistic demands only. Like always, I will share a story with you. I will tell you about our ex-client. We will call him Dennis. And Dennis was bilingual. His parents have left Ukraine and have relocated to the United States when he was only 6 years old. And at the moment when we have started working with him, he was 43, never married, he didn't have any children, he worked in IT. At that moment he worked for a big IT company. Now he owns his own IT company. And he was very intelligent, really well-traveled and well-read. He had this kind personality. He was very interesting to talk to. The only aspect about Dennis was the fact that he was not tall. He was only 1 meter and 63 centimeters tall, so quite short for a guy. And he had girlfriends. He dated when he was in college, and after that, now and on, he would go out on dates. But he said that he never really had a serious relationship. And when he has decided to invest his time into dating, he tried Tinder, of course, and some dating platforms. And he said that he was very disappointed because very often women ghosted after the first date. He had many no-show ups, and twice it has happened to him that women who showed interest actually were married and had several kids, and he didn't know about that. Some women did not look like their pictures. Some women have forgotten to mention that they actually have some children, or that they have been imprisoned, or that they had other issues. So he was very disappointed. When we have started working with Dennis, we talked a lot about his long-term goals, about his values, about his dreams and understanding about family life. He wanted to get married and to have children. He considered himself to be a family man. Both his siblings have been married and had kids. His best friend was married and had kids, and he wanted to live this life too. He dreamt to buy a house somewhere in suburbs, not far from a good school, with the yard, to plan family vacations. So he felt ready for this. He wanted to meet a lady who would put family first, because he already had a demanding career. So if she wanted to have a job, he was okay with it. If she wanted to be a stay-at-home wife and mother, he was okay with it too, because he earned enough to provide for his family. At the same time, he was not the type of the guy who would pay $2,000 for a handbag, because in his opinion it is ridiculous to spend so much money on a bag when you can invest this money into a trip to Rome and to spend a weekend there. So he didn't want to date someone you might call a high-maintenance woman. He wanted to date someone who is good with money and who has similar values and similar understanding what to spend money on and what not to spend money on. At the same time, he wanted to date someone intelligent, to talk about books, about art, and someone spontaneous, because he's a type of a guy who likes to plan a trip tonight and to actually board the plane or to jump a car tomorrow just to go somewhere for the weekend to see the waterfall or to fly to Europe. So he wanted to date someone who was on the same page with him about this. As you can see, Dennis had lots to offer: a secure lifestyle, a woman who wants to have more children and who wants to be a stay-at-home mother. He could easily offer that. Adventurous lifestyle, kind personality, and after talking to Dennis about expanding his pool of candidates, he was open to date a woman who already has one child if she is willing to have more children. The only thing that Dennis was not able to offer was a traditionally handsome looks. Well, because obviously most women would prefer to date someone tall. Dennis was not tall, and he was more to a skinny side. Even though he went to gym regularly and he did yoga, he just couldn't get those muscles. So he felt more attracted to petite women who are not too curvy and not much taller than he was. We ended up introducing Dennis to Julia. She was 33, so 10 years younger than he was, a preschool teacher, petite, blonde, very sweet lady who really loved her job because she believed it is really important to teach a child to be willing to learn. Because if you don't do it in preschool, later on in middle school or in elementary school, in high school, well, if you don't have this habit to actually like learning, you won't succeed in it. Julia was divorced and she had a son from her first marriage. He was 7 at that moment, and despite her quite modest salary, she has managed to travel. She has taken her son to Bulgaria, to Montenegro, and she herself has traveled to Prague, to Budapest. She really loved traveling. She was adventurous, well-read, and her latest hobby was learning English. For her last vacation, she has rented a room in Western Ukraine, and she has spent time hiking with her son, seeing beautiful waterfalls, beautiful lakes. 2 months into dating Julia, Dennis has asked if it was okay if he would have buy a gift for her son. And after Julia said that it is okay, he has asked her multiple questions about his interest, her son's interest, his hobbies, to choose the best gift. And Julia really liked it, that he didn't try to push her to introduce him to her son, but at the same time he has showed interest. 3-4 months into their relationship, they have started planning their meeting in Western Europe, and they have traveled to Lisbon, Portugal, to Barcelona, Spain, to Vienna in Austria. They did sightseeing, they have visited museums. Dennis wanted to show Julia that he is capable of providing a really comfortable and adventurous life for her. They will be able to travel, that they will be able to travel with their children, and his plan has actually succeeded. 9 months into their relationship, he has proposed to Julia, and she said yes, and they have applied for K1 visa almost straight away, and 6 months after, they had a very cozy small wedding in the United States. They are still happily married, and they have 3 kids in total. So Julia's son from the first marriage is now in college, so time flies, and he has 2 younger sisters. Julia was a stay-at-home mother, and now she has entered college because she wants to get a degree and to continue working once the kids grow older. So everything worked well for this couple. I will share another story with you when singles try to overdo it, to over-impress their date. Once we were introducing our male client to a lady, and it was supposed to be their first date ever in Ukraine, and the lady wanted to impress her date, so she has decided to actually present him with a handmade scarf. And once she was finished with the scarf, she saw that, okay, a scarf it's not enough, so she has decided to cook jam for him. Since she didn't know her date, she has never met him, and she didn't know his preferences, she ended up cooking 3 types of jam for him. And she went on a date with 3 jars of jam and with handmade scarf, and unfortunately, the gentleman was still not impressed. Actually, after the date, he told us that she might have been an okay date if she would have lost at least 3 or 4 kilos. And our male client also said that he didn't have place in his suitcase, so he left jam in our office. We didn't have heart to tell the lady that he has abandoned her gifts, so we have actually eaten it. Jam was good, and I don't know the destiny of the scarf. This very gentleman has dismissed all other dates. In his opinion, one of the ladies has the audacity to actually cut the bangs, and he didn't like it. In his opinion, it didn't suit her. And another lady during the date has mentioned that she is not eating red meat, and he thought it was ridiculous. He has dismissed another date because in his opinion, she was dressed in a granny style dress, and he didn't find it appealing. About the jam girl, whose photos of course he has seen and has approved, he said that he was not sure about her pictures straight away, but he has decided to give her a chance and to go out with him. How generous of him. I remember that he has dismissed one lady because in his opinion she should dye her hair the other shade of blonde because her shade of blonde was not blonde enough. Sasha, can we use a facepalm here? No big surprise here that this gentleman has ended up empty-handed, and he has hired us 3 years after that. And again, we have tried to convince him to use at least some of our dating tips and advice because he has neglected like 99% of dating tips and advice. And this time again, all ladies did not reach his expectations. I remember that he has told about one lady that the shape of her nails was not attractive and she should do something about that. The funny thing about this gentleman and his dating attitude is the fact that while he said that he is rating and dismissing his dates, most of the ladies after the first date with him were not eager to go out on a second date because they were given same feedback. He acted arrogant and cold during the date. He was not attentive. He has interrupted ladies while they talked, and sometimes they had a feeling that he didn't want to be there, like he acted like that. The exception was the jam girl. She actually has given the feedback that he smiled and he was attentive. She liked him. She wanted to go on a second date with him. By the way, the jam girl had her happy end. She ended up marrying our client from Israel, and she lived there. They're happily married, have children, so everything worked well for her. And the girl in the granny dress, she also ended up marrying our French client, and she lives now in Paris. But the gentleman who thought that he is rating and dismissing his matchers, he ended up empty-handed. No big surprise here. So when you go out on a date with someone new, the smart attitude should be to think about what you have to offer, why she should choose you. Are you doing enough to impress her? And of course, to enjoy the date. Try to give the good first impression. When you come up on a date and try to act as this cold, arrogant person who will right now rate and watch how you are trying to entertain him, that's a wrong attitude. You are not in the jury of the voice, and you are not going to give advices to your date how to improve her skills or how to impress you better. Just get over yourself, or you will doom yourself to being single and disappointed. When you go out on a date with this desire to get impressed, you will never be impressed. No one ever will reach your expectations because they are ridiculous and unrealistic. Instead of looking for faults, try to think about the things you like, and also keep in mind, what can you realistically offer to your date? Why should she choose you back? Guys, I hope you have managed to listen this video till the end. I know it is quite long. I want to wish you only smart attitude when it comes to the love search. Svetlana Mucha, with love, especially from Magdeburg, Germany, for Diolli.com.